Hey out there, this is April 29th, 2016. It's a Friday here in Northern California, and it's just about 7 minutes past 10 in the morning. And I got some nice shots of the eagles flying. This is a big habitat for the eagles in this big canyon here. Kind of the foothills to the Sierras. I was showing some footage of that too. And before that, I was showing the chemtrails also in there, and this entire haze we've got going on, this entire overcast cloudiness we've got, milky white. I can see it dropping to the ground in the valley behind me, or in front of me rather. And this is all artificial. So yesterday was very clear. I mean, we had a very kind of a deep blue almost sky, and this is all artificial stuff, and I find that highly objectionable. I'm learning how to live with it. I mean, my attitude has gotten, because it has driven me so crazy to feel like a cockroach and being sprayed at will by these monsters, these elitists, these open genocidalists, that at some point, to cope, you finally say, God, you know what? I mean, if you're real, then you've got to help. And if you don't help, then that just means you're allowing it to happen, which is, another way that I have to admit I have to accept this to some degree. I could speak out against it, but I can't stop it. And no group or group of individuals seems to be able to stop these people from poisoning our skies. And at some point, we've got to have some peace of mind, and just say, you know what? You're allowing this to happen, just like in the days of Job or any other time in history when things were out of control and evil. And you can intervene at any time, but you don't. And that's something that we all have to face. We have to accept that you do things in your way, on your timetable. And it's given me some coping skills here, because we have to contend with these monsters one day at a time. But I didn't want to get into a whole big diatribe about chemtrails today. This is just one of the negative forces working on humanity. But it is a downer, and there will be, mark my words, there will be someday a recognized psychological disorder, and it'll pertain directly to the dimming of the natural light, artificial dimming of the natural light, which is just absolutely outrageous, coming from the same people that tell us a human interaction on the earth is destroying it, when really they're the ones destroying it, and they're not at all accountable. They're not responsible. They're not liable, and it's absurd. It's reached node lambda levels. I mean, so God's watching. I believe that. All it takes is a little bit of faith to believe that God is ultimately in control of everything. And, he's going to let happen what he'll let happen. And the best any of us can do, all the righteous can do, is to stand up, speak out against these monsters, okay? I want to talk about the subjective, highly subjective nature of our so-called reality. And I want to get into talking about taxes to help people understand taxes in a different way, redefine taxation. All these very subjective terms that have been injected into our society, into our civilization, into our daily lives, are also very divisive. And I strongly contend that this is by design, that the people, I'm not being cynical, these people that are running the policy that we live under are diabolical. That means they're devilish. That means they're cunning, they're shrewd, and these people are merciless. This is how they stay in control. They're willing to go outside of the bounds of conscience. They have no regard. They actually hate their conscience. They rebel against their conscience at the Bohemian Grove, this cremation of care, is open rebellion to all that is good and holy and right and proper. And so this is how they stay in control, because they're willing if not to bloody their own hands, literally, their own hands, they will hire somebody. They will use the powers of this world, which is the money. The power of money is this. It's a really strong power. It's a satanic power. And they are willing to use that power to get their ways, like snot-nosed, bratty kids that need discipline. They're out of control. And they're going to get it. One way or another, they're going to get their just desserts. But in the meantime, humanity has to concentrate on surviving. We have to coalesce around each other and understand, look, the best we can do is be righteous, upright, decent human beings that stand for something, that is good, that cannot be debated, that is righteous and proper, that is pro-human, that it shows that we love our fellow man and we care about our fellow man. That's the best we can do. And just say, you know what, individually and collectively, we're going to fight you people, knowing that eventually, ultimately, God prevails, good prevails in this final battle. Because that seems to be what's going on here, this great crescendo, this pinnacle that humanity is reaching, is it's related to this end time, the end of the age, and the beginning of a new age scenario that was spelled out in the Bible. And like I've said before, if the people that are running policy, these New World Order cabal and all their affiliates, witting, unwitting, the minions and lackeys thereof, okay, all these people are insane. Okay, let's make one thing perfectly clear. But understand that all these people are going to lose. They will fail because good is stronger than bad and light is stronger than darkness. There's all these scientific, logical reasons for why these people can't win. And they know it too, and if they're not reading a script straight out of the Bible, I'd be very surprised, because I firmly believe that that's exactly, if you read the Bible, and you particularly read passages in the Bible relating to end of the age events, the stuff Jesus talked about, the stuff that Daniel started getting into, the stuff that's written in the book of Revelations and other places in the Bible. I mean, Isaiah talked about stuff. All kinds of different minor prophets in the Bible talked about the events and how it was going to be. And Jesus said, like in the days of Noah, all this great debauchery, this division, this just abandonment of conscience, that people say it's every man to himself. I mean, pretty soon they're going to want orgies out in the street. They're going to say, well, this is liberal. This is, you're a prude if you don't approve everything. I mean, this brings up the restroom issue, speaking of current events. And it's an absurd issue that we should be talking about this stuff at a point in time when civilization just keeps going down the tubes, and there's evidence to this. You can look at the statistics. Okay, the way that they are destroying humanity is through financial means. They sneak it in under the radar. Okay, they don't call it a tax, so we can't just stand up and say, this is all the government's fault because, the taxes are so high, when really it's not even the government whose taxes are too high. It's the cost of living tax. The cost for simply living is killing people. This is the power to tax. This is the power to destroy. And people forget that. But you've got all these special interest groups, and people can see, I'm always picking on the landlords or something. But listen, I blame my own field of interest was getting into real estate development. And I see how this is another special interest group. All the real estate agents out there, this whole industry, the property management, the investment, the speculator, the flipper, the lenders, they're all involved. It's not, we have to admit it. And the worst one is the government. And the government will jack up prices, people working in the government, because they know that they've got, a better revenue stream, right? The higher the real estate prices are, the higher the revenue stream. And think about how ridiculous this is. People talk about private property, but if you learn a little real estate law, real estate is never considered personal property. So if in some way you think it's ever private, forget it. The government owns everything forever. Isn't that the deal? Property taxes, nobody's talking about ending property taxes anytime soon, are they? People don't stop and think that we don't need to be divided. You can be on everybody's side, okay? Through sound currency, we could solve our problems. which is the opposite direction of what we've been doing. The increasing wealth disparity is evidence. We're losing prosperity. California is leading the way. So if the rest of the country knows what to expect, you expect your housing prices to double, rents to double, just until you're dirt poor. I mean, that's it, till you need government assistance. And so the government's got you on the hook. Just like Cloward and Piven, they want to control everything. They want us poor. This is the whole idea, because this is how they're going to save the planet. This is the context. This is at least the pretext of why they're deliberately impoverishing the people. Understand, they want you so poor that you can't take a little mini vacation. You can't burn the gasoline. You've got to think twice about turning on your heater. Think twice about turning on your air conditioner. Think twice about turning on a light. This is all a pretext. While these same people that are foisting these draconian, energy-saving rules upon us through impoverishment, deliberate impoverishment, are out there. They've got the footprint like Al Gore of 10,000 men, and these are the quintessential hypocrites. These are the exemplification of hypocrisy. These are the epitome of the double standard. These people live by it and believe in it. So, we can't listen to these people. We've got to use our own minds and say, you know what, we're getting ahead of you in this thing. God is helping us. The light of knowledge and truth is descending more and more every day upon the earth. It's not going away. All this collective information and knowledge and wisdom is seeping into the hearts and minds of men, and we can decide our own reality, okay? We can decide whose planet this is. We can figure out how to live in a world, in a civilization, in a society entirely without money, because it's the God of this world. Don't let anybody tell you that's such a wild-eyed, fanciful idea, okay? It's not. Jesus instructed us to be ye perfect as our Father in heaven